Okay, today I am working on soldering some bats for an event that I have coming up. So I have here my blue bat, which you can't really tell right now that he's got blue wings, but they are very dark blue. And so when we finish with the front side of the soldering, I'll put him up to the light so you guys can see this really gorgeous deep dark blue that I used for the wings. So I have already used some flux all over this bat. That's going to help with getting the solder to flow as we're going along here on the different copper lines. I'm going to start by doing a little bit of tacking. I already have some pins here to try to hold those two pieces, but since this is very intricate, has a lot of small pieces, we're going to want to put a little bit of solder on some of the joints just to keep things from shifting. So I'm going to get as close as I can so it's really hot when it lands. And hopefully, whoopsie, that will connect these guys together a little bit better. If I'm too high up when I drop it, it'll just be a bead on top and it won't do anything. So get that gap to close a little. That's good. So, even when you have a little bit of splashing or something drop onto the glass like that, it is not the end of the world because you can melt that away and it's no biggie. So, even if you have bad aim or messy solder, it is not the end of the world. Try to get these gears to stay in place. You can see that one just shift just a tiny bit when I hit it, but I can push it right back into place. Okay, so I'm gonna start, let's start on this side. So what I want to do is, oh, that's a brand new spool of solder, so it's kind of heavy. And you're hearing in the background my fume extractor for the fumes coming off of the flux that's all over this. When the heat hits it, it does let off some smoke that's toxic, so you have to have a fume extractor just to avoid any potential hazard there. That one more time. So the nice thing is you can always melt your solder, remelt it to get the look that you want, and even if you have too much, like you can see there I've got too much, I can move that glob, I can pick it up, it'll be several globs out actually, and I can just use it somewhere else just like that. I think I'm going to take these pins out so that they're not in my way, because I feel like they're totally in my way right now. Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna take this guy here. We just go nice and slow. You want to give the solder time to melt as it's making contact with the foil and the glass, so you get that nice flow that you want and that really nice clean look. I'm just kind of taking this along wherever it'll let me go, and I can grab just a little more solder and we can bring that in here. I want to go ahead and probably get the other side of the wings, or the other wings rather. Do that, and you can see things are shifting just a little bit. Oops. Which is no big deal, like I said. You just kind of go in, hold it however you need it to be. And then we're just going to take it nice and slow along here and make a nice line. straight lines are my favorite because they are easy, and they are satisfyingly clean. Supposed to be anyway. You kind of have to feel for the amount of solder that you're using as you go, and you can back up into it. You can see where there's like copper showing, so just kind of, I'm gonna go back over that a little bit, put that to melt to get that smooth line that I want, and then that's gonna drop a little bit of extra that I don't need, which is fine. You can still see a little bit of copper, so I'm just going to put, and I know that made such a mess, but it's not a big deal. I'm just seeing my flow kind of taper a little, so I want to go back over that with some flux. Okay, that's a little better. There we go. Okay, so now I can, I did see a little bit of shifting happening here. Oh, you can see a little bit of shifting happening. So I just need to go over this real quick and make sure I get things connected. There we go. And then I can pull these pins out because they are definitely in my way. I don't like, oh. My fume extractor is angry, so don't mind it. Sometimes it likes to complain. Alright, and there we go. Steady flow through here, come down this way, give it a second to melt. There we go. My bat just wants to wiggle today. Go along these edges here. Here too. And you're kind of just tinning over here, so when you're just like doing a thin layer of solder, it's called tinning. So you're pretty much just tinning those edges because there's not a whole lot of room to hold like a nice rounded bead of solder on those edges. Kinda can, but it's not much. I can always add more solder to some of these areas where it's starting to flatten out. That's no issue at all there. Those ears covered. More solder. Tinning on this side now. That's melty. And I can even pick up some of this solder that's laying around and I can use it. That's kind of nifty in that way. Alright, so you can see where I've got some globs here. I even got a little pebble there, but that landed on the glass. So when it lands on the glass and it cools, it just wipes right off. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is drop those solder balls, that extra solder that's, you just kind of have to hold it. And even with these protective gloves on, I can still feel the heat, so I kind of have to move around a little bit. Okay, well, of course that happened. Okay, so the balls of solder on the table, they cool down pretty quickly. They're still really, really hot, but you just saw me kind of push them aside. That happens fairly quickly. Shake it off. You can have extra solder on the piece. You can also fling it away from you, definitely not towards you. It's got a little gap there that I really want to repair. Perfect. Okay, looking good. Alright, so this is by no means finished, but I did want to give you guys an idea of how the first stage of soldering goes. It's got a lot of extra solder in it we want to ditch. I also have to add the 2 rings up here to the wings, but I didn't want to do that on camera because I didn't want to make the video too terribly long. Just kind of wanted to make this like a short little, hey everybody, you know, this is how I do this. Oops. On the head there. Okay. And so naturally I will go around and I'll do the edges, you know, I'll go all the way around this, all the way around that. I'm going to do the whole back side, but that really gives you an idea of how that thing gets all soldered together. So I am going to actually take this over to the window so you guys can see how gorgeous this blue is. Whoop. Okay. Alright, so here's my bat. I'm going to the window. And you can see, let me get myself situated. Okay. So you can see, there we go. Alright, if I bring it up here to the light, oh, I don't want to change the orientation on you guys. So, isn't that beautiful? That is going to be a really gorgeous bat. And I'll also put a black patina on those lines. So, that is how we get that first stage going on soldering a bat. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.